I'm from London, UK, and I'm here with Avail. Pleased to meet you.
I'm Emem, also from London, and I'm the founder of Accentity.
So to go into a bit about Avail, what we've developed is an AI solution that supports real estate solicitors with their property due diligence, essentially mainly with title and lease reporting. So what it will do is it will scan the face of legal documents such as a lease, such as a title, it will simplify the text using generative AI, and it will produce an automated report that basically means lawyers get to do their job a little bit easier and without much doing the heavy lifting.
So for Africans for Africans in need of access to finance, building a credit intelligence platform that provides a credit profile for Africans in need of a credit identity. What that basically enables, or what it actually does, is you as a user, you actually have full ownership and control. So unlike existing credit bureaus where you have to, I got to go somewhere and then I got to ask for access to, no, you actually own it. And for any company that wants access to your information, they have to come to you for permission to actually get that. There's also some recommendations that are built in, because we're very much forward looking at the data that we analyse, and we're constantly assessing how users' financial position is actually shifting. So with those recommendations, that's where conversational AI actually comes in. The other key part of AI for us is actually around fraud. Fraud is a massive issue. So we're looking at how we actually solve that problem in terms of detecting when somebody's identity has been misused or fraudulently used. So because they need to know, and so does whoever the provider where the misuse has happened occurred.
So what we do in our company is, as I mentioned earlier, so specifically in the case of leases, so I don't know if you've ever bought or sold a house or rented a house, sometimes it can be quite a long process. And at the beginning of that transaction, every lawyer needs to actually produce a report on the title or on the lease, which is the document that has all the key restrictions, all the key legal kind of jargon, stuff that you may not understand today, but necessary to actually allow that transaction to go through. So we use a generative AI to read that, to simplify it, to surface any legal risks, to spot any red flags, and then produce a document that is essentially easier for the client to read. What we kind of pride ourselves in being able to do is understand our clients' pain points, understand the sort of things that they would constitute as a cumbersome or burdensome task, and be able to kind of remove that heavy lifting. Well, one of the things that we've come across at Avail is obviously because our main clients are law firms. Some of the larger law firms have really, and all the old-fashioned ones have really strict policies when it comes to generative AI. So a lot of our product it all uses AI, but some of it is not necessarily generative AI. So they'll be happy to sign up for that part of it. But then they're like, oh, well, what about that? We want our product to also simplify the language and change it up a bit. Oh yeah, that uses generative AI, and they say, oh, we can't use that. So then we've been in business talks for you for months, and at the end of the process, so then the deal, we think, yeah, we've got you over the line. You've said no, it's just a hard no on generative AI. So that's a struggle, still getting some of the more old-fashioned corporations to kind of change their policies and be more embracing of it. They can potentially get away with it because of their name, but we do find that some of the more medium-sized and even the larger ones themselves, but a lot of them are embracing generative AI.
Yeah, so when I came up with this idea, I was very intentional about how you give equitable access to everybody. So currently in Africa, 11% of the population has a credit profile. That's 89% who don't have a credit profile, which is nuts, right? And if you're going to do that, you've got to think around a lot of things. Financial literacy is one of them, and I go back to what I said earlier. It's not about telling people, you need to behave like this. By actually putting the actual the actual credit profile in people's hands. That helps to solve some of the problems in terms of in terms of financial literacy. But then when you then add a Gen AI into that, where conversations can be had, and you can start to ask questions, your understanding of just the way you behave around your finances totally changes. That said, on the flip side of it, we're dealing with a very heavy number of digitally illiterate population. So then how do you make that work? Not just that, but now we're dealing with a population that, although yes, a very large population, a very large number of the African population have a mobile phone. A lot of people have 2 mobile phones. They're feature phones. So now what? Right, so we have to think about how we actually make these work for a feature phone. So we have to think about USSD. And so one of the big challenges we've got at the moment is right, how do we make Gen AI work, but we make it work on a feature phone? So we have that deep technical challenges, but also cultural challenges in terms of using AI.
I think it's been fantastic to work with the RAISE project because not only has it opened up my mind to different ways that we could use AI in our company to make it a bit more responsible, but also giving me the insight into seeing how AI is used across the globe. Meeting many kind of businesses that are mainly focused within Africa has been really insightful for me, understanding that, because a lot of time we can live in a kind of Eurocentric way and look at the products that we are seeing on the ground here, but to see how it's being used, I mean, I've met people that are focusing on using generative AI to really build traditional businesses. They're not necessarily digital ones, but you leveraging AI to still leverage those traditional businesses is different from what we've got here, and I think it's really interesting to see. And it's opened up my eyes to the wider horizon of life.
So, because we're a recent introduction to RAISE, so it's still kind of getting feelers. But that said, what it has kind of forced me to do is to focus a lot more on the responsible AI side of things and actually ask some serious questions. Because once you get involved in a project like this, it then becomes front of mind. So if we're saying, okay, we're responsible with our use of AI, what does that mean? What does it look like? What frameworks are we using to enable that? So just being able to do that, and some of the things that have been, that I've discovered as part of that actual process. So I think it's actually because of this is how I ended up so I joined Save AI in London. So I go to their events, and that was literally because of joining this. The conversations you have with people in those networks is absolutely fascinating. It allows you to think about things where you're like, yeah, I haven't actually thought about that before. For me, it's been an eye-opener, or it's been interesting anyway to think about those things, which I hadn't actually done previously. So.
At the end of the day, a lot of people, especially in the legal industry, when they hear AI, they get a panic, say, "Oh, is it going to replace us?" No, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to enhance you. We're here to take away the things that you don't like doing.